Now, French author André Maurois once said that art is an effort to create, beside the real world, a more humane world. Now, with that philosophy in mind, we welcome two guests who are using art as a form of cultural understanding in their respective fields. Back with us is Eric Frazier, musician and founder of the Fort Greene Jazz Festival, friend of the show, also, which draws musical artists from all cultures and genres for live jazz in one of Brooklyn's and mine most favorite parks.
This is true. And for the very first time on BK Live, although by no means a stranger to Brooklyn, we're happy to welcome Donna Walker-Kuhn, who is the founder of Walker International Communications Group, which specializes in multicultural marketing, group sales, and promotional events. Now, her client roster includes a few bigs you may have heard of. They're Alvin Ailey and Bill T. Jones, Arnie Zane dance companies, Harlem's famous Apollo Theater,
Never heard of it.
And Brooklyn's Restoration Art, a division of Restoration Plaza, right there in Bed-Stuy. Thank you for being here, Donna.
Pleasure. Thank you.
We appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you. Oh, it's good to have the heavy hitters with us here today. And it's a pleasure to finally have you here on the show.
Thank you.
I want to talk to you, Eric, first. Now, I think this is the 8th year.
Absolutely.
Is this the 8th year?
The 8th year.
Of the Jazz Festival?
That quick, yes.
Okay, how'd you make it to the 8th year? Most things fizzle out after the 3rd year, man.
Well, hard work, consistency, staying on the case and not letting it go. Also, building our network and base of support, and that has helped us to this point.
Okay, and you know, for anybody who hasn't been out to the festival, what do you tell the first timers?
Well, the first timers, I just tell them it's just a wonderful thing. You come, you bring your blankets, your chairs. There'll be music. We have a number of performers. Our backing includes, I got to say something about the sponsors, the Fort Greene Park Conservancy. They helped us along with that, along with the Brooklyn Arts Council and the New York State Council on the Arts, Jazz Inside Magazine, and Rustic Tavern.
Oh yeah, I love Rustic.
Yes, absolutely, and Partners for Parks, all sponsors, and it's a wonderful thing. That's what's helped. That has what helped us to continue as we are today.
Well, clearly you have the support of the community in keeping the jazz and the Fort Greene in the Jazz Festival in Fort Greene. But I wondered how this festival aligns with the mission of what you do at Walker Communications.
Oh, it's perfect. Eric and I were talking earlier. You know, I work, one of my clients is New Jersey Performing Arts Center, and we focus on jazz.
Yes.
Exactly. And we focus a lot on jazz. And so I was sharing with him how, you know, I formed a Jazz Advisory Council, and, you know, we do jazz jam sessions because that's what the community requested in addition to the big jazz festival. But essentially, it's exactly what Eric said. It's really about partnerships and relationships for sustainability.
Now, we've seen Fort Greene change over the years. You've been here through all of the evolutions and the peaks and the valleys. I want to talk to both of you about keeping that culture in the place that made it so attractive for folks when there are other gentrifying forces coming, and how you pull off multicultural events that promote the culture, but also draw in folks and keep it for the people who've been here as well.
Respecting indigenous communities.
Respecting indigenous communities.
You
Underlined.
must do that. You must. And so we fight for that. And so everything that my company does is to, one, recognize who are our neighbors, who's been here the longest. We do that with the Apollo Theater. We do that in any community where there's gentrification. And so we honor those who have sustained during the difficult times when no one wanted to come, and now it's all of a sudden it's very attractive. That's lovely. But you must respect these new communities, and we demand that. You know, so we work with our local communities. We do events with them. We make sure they're first to be invited, first to be informed. And then, of course, the new people, we welcome them as well. But we teach them you must honor these new constituents.
Well, in honoring those new constituents, you have the residents, you have the new residents, but so much of New York economy does is the catalyst is art. And entertainment, and so we must respect the artists and respect the people that create the content. What are we doing to sort of, make sure that these artists have affordable places and sustainability, or even, you know, making the buku crazy dollars that maybe if they were artists in a different community might make? So how do you sort of teach the artists?
Well, certainly in the nonprofit world, what we talk a lot about is to make sure they get paid You know, because a lot of people think nonprofit means poverty. It does not. It just means we have a charitable mission and we're responsible to our communities. And so arts organizations around the country are being very aggressive about making sure they get funding for cultural diversity. So I'm very inspired by that. You know, I've been in the business over 35 years, and I'm finally seeing dollars being allocated specifically for diverse artists to create the work and to sustain their lives. So this is a wonderful thing.
She said finally when she said that.
Well,
Yes.
Mr. Frazier knows that you've been in the game a long time and
yes.
seen all of the different cycles, regardless of who's
As
in
an
the
artist himself, too.
White House. But I wonder, as America's real art form, jazz,
That's right.
how that is breaking down those barriers and just who you are seeing in the park, the young, the old, the new, the established, our indigenous communities, the newcomers. What is it like to experience this jazz fest in Fort Greene
Actually,
Park?
like you have basically said it all. We like to incorporate the whole community and bring together the generations. So in my promoting, first of all, I took the things that I do from the rappers. They would produce their own stuff and do all their own stuff. So I own all my own equipment, and I produce my own CDs, and I've hired hundreds and hundreds of artists before in the last 2 years where I've gotten support from partners. And so I look to really run my own show, own my own equipment, have my own resources, and make it happen.
Yeah.
So, and in that way, it has helped to have some artists self-actualize. It's helped them to put them on the road to not only the artistic aspect, but the business aspect, and also to show them how to be artists. I mean, in terms of professionalism, growth, stick-to-itiveness, audience development, and networking.
Okay. And I want to just, jump right on that. Yeah, Donna, can you tell us a little bit just sort of about your work? I mean, Brooklyn, New York has this global impact now. Everything, you put Brooklyn on it,
That's
and
right.
it goes around the world and back again. So can you talk to us just a little bit about the impact that that the images that you create and the content that you create not only will make you known locally, but it will have, such an impact beyond our borders?
Absolutely. Because I think we've been in the game for a few years and have demonstrated that we understand how to engage diverse audiences, how to educate them, how to get them excited and to sustain their interest. I do quite a bit of work abroad. So I just returned from Australia 2 weeks ago. It was my 4th trip, which teaching them
Just over
how
the jet
to,
lag.
That's
now, 2
that's
weeks
really.
later.
I was like, that's
2 weeks
really
later.
far.
yeah, it's 23-hour flight. Wow. But
It's global. Okay.
Yeah, and it's at their invitation to teach them how to really engage diverse communities because of immigration. Immigration is changing everything. And so that has become just one example. I was in Moscow last fall teaching the same topic of community engagement to 50 theater artists in Moscow. 2 years ago, I was in Cape Town, South Africa. So the world
Well, the world's gotten an invitation to the party there.
Yes, they do. The world is looking at this very closely because they have to.
Yeah.
They have to. People are coming and moving, and you can't ignore your neighbor.
So we have a good hot 30 seconds. I want to pay respect to Invitation to the Party.
Yes.
Building bridges to the arts, culture, and community, and in the same place, of course. We've got your brain on music. We've got your brain on words.
Yes.
Thank you for coming by. Give us the snapshot of the book.
I wrote this book 10 years ago to highlight my strategies on how to engage diverse audiences. I had worked on the Broadway production, Bringing the Noise, Bringing the Funk with Savion Glover. And it was the first time Broadway experienced young blacks in the audience, and producers kept calling me and saying, how did you do it? How do you do it? So I wrote it down.
All right. So then now we know the secret's out. Get the book.
And we're also
Listen
going
to
to
some
get
jazz.
a little taste of in the same place. Somebody might be persuaded to perform for us. We've got a video even of the man in action himself. But give us the directions. Where are we going to spend our weekend with jazz?
Well, we're going to be this Saturday from 3 to 7 p.m. We're going to be at Fort Greene Park,
Yes.
right here in Brooklyn, New York. And we're going to be entertained by a number of artists, Hanka G, vocalist, Stacey Horton, who you've heard from today, Stephanie Janot, another wonderful vocalist, Sivan Abel, or Arbel,
Yeah.
And we were going to have Rome Neal, but Rome Neal, his daughter's in the Olympics, and she's on the U.S. swimming team, and they're doing something in overseas.
Who knows? We may
He'll
have
be
some
there.
special surprise guests. We want to thank you both for being here.
A
It's good to have the
pleasure.
Brooklyn heavy hitters in the house.
Thank you.